When it comes to LEGO minifigures, I feel like official versions of Groot have been a little bit lacking. Doesn't get the height, doesn't get the bulk from the character. When it comes to customs, you can get a little bit closer with custom molded parts, kind of like what Jin did here for his Swamp Thing, which is the reason why I decided to pick up Jin's version of Groot, which features a lot of the same design cues as the Swamp Thing. Really love this minifigure, so I wanted to check out Groot, which is a partnership with Galaxy Minifigures, which I think is just an off-brand or offshoot of Jin. Comes in a plastic bag as well to hold in the collector card in the back. And the card will have two sides. One side with the actual expansion pack, which I don't have, with the multiple arms from that scene. It says I am Groot on the top. So quote from the character. And the other side is the render of the minifigure I did get. So I have number 18 out of 146. And just a silly little write-up on the bottom there. Fun to get a collector card, especially with the numbers, so you know how many were made total. On the back of the actual plastic case, you can have the same render and card design. Already kind of saw the front. Pop it open, you just have the minifigure on the inside of the packaging there. So nothing crazy, no add-ins or anything like that. But let's go ahead and check out Groot. When it comes to the actual product for Groot here, it should be a pretty easy product to go over since he doesn't have any accessories other than the molded parts for the torso and then the head. And you can see that right off the bat, there's a little bit of a color difference between the official dark tan for the torso and then official legs and the molded parts here, where I think it might just be the brown used to print the different detailings to break up the different wood pieces. Just makes the lower half of the body seem a little bit darker compared to the top, where it is not printed at all other than like a little bit of moss on the front side. Not going to be printed at all on the arms or the back, which is a bit of a bummer, honestly, especially in the context of the Swamp Thing that I showed off, which did have different colors all over the place to make it a little bit more premium, I guess. Which I guess, you know, the moss on the front definitely does add a bit, but when it is not continued all the way around, it feels a little bit empty. Especially when there are the crevices, you know, there is some depth to it, but without the extra color, it just seems flat. Especially when it is compared to a very overly detailed torso and leg set here, where there is printing all over the place. At least on the outside. Let's check the inside of the leg, see what we got there. I'm going to guess it is also printed, yes. All the different bark and like root designs, which is perfect for Groot. I think the torso and legs here are just going to be a good improvement anyway. And we'll definitely try it out with the official parts too and kind of swap things around, see what we can do to mix parts together and see any compatibilities. Arms are going to be rotatable. They're actually fairly loose, honestly, so you're not going to have like an issue rotating them. And you can also, if you really wanted to, pop them off. So that's kind of fun. And I'm going to guess that the torsos are compatible here. So pulled off the arm here. Oh, that's interesting. So on the Groot, the peg is on the torso. For Swamp Thing, the peg is on the arm. So they did mix it up a little bit there. And I guess that might be because on the Swamp Thing, there's like 3D rip parts on the arm. So I guess maybe they wanted more clearance. So that's interesting. You can see that there too, where the arms stick out a lot more on the body here. And these ones are more Lego minifigure-esque. Interesting to see. And I guess while we have this one, you can see that the official Groot is actually taller than this one, which is kind of weird, since I feel like Groot is supposed to be a lot taller, especially in the third movie here, where maybe it could have used some of the custom legs that Jin has done for that extra height, or even just had longer legs. That's too bad. But I do really like the molded head here. I think that is one of the things that is lacking in the official one, where it is just smooth, since he definitely has like that defined brow and eye area, which you gotta have. And what we're at it to do the torso, it is just official Lego parts of the arms taken off. You can see there's extra printing too where the torso is covered. So it's nice to see there is extra detailing, even if you can't see it. So, you know, they're putting the effort. I do really like the branch and bark design on the side here. I think that probably is the best bit of the design. But since it is a lot of brown, it makes it really dark. Just stands out a lot more when it comes to the tan, like I described. And this definitely has like a more greeny tan of a hue versus just like brown tan. So that's that. For the head, it is a Lego minifigure head with the molded part sandwiched over it. So that's interesting. I can't really get this out. I don't want to mess with it too much since it's probably a little bit on the thin side, could break. I guess it's something to point out too, that the head came off with the torso and stayed with the torso. So there is like a little bit of a neck part there. You can see where it is held on with some friction. So it can come off as one part. Hands aren't going to be rotatable, but it looks like they are like a Lego, like a normal Lego minifigure hand. Notice that they still have a little bit of flex, probably not as much as the official ones. I don't like the feeling of that. Okay, there you go. If you slide it in, you can put a bar piece in there. The hands are going to be a little bit thicker than a normal minifigure hand, so you have to be a little bit careful. Some accessories, I'm sure, could get jammed in there, so just be careful. Make sure you know what you're putting in there, and if it should fit, like you can see right here, official gun pieces should be fine if you just slide it in the hole versus clipping it in. It looks like there's some friction issues there, though. If you're putting an accessory in, if it's too heavy, it could fold down. So that's a bummer to see. I wouldn't have any accessories in the hand, to be honest, but could be an issue. For the head, when it is pressed down all the way, you can't rotate it at all because there are like the neck muscle parts there. But if you lift up a little bit, you can turn the head. And since there's that recess in the torso, not going to break up at all, which is nice. I'm glad that that worked out the way that it did, because otherwise you won't be able to move the head at all, and that would be kind of a bummer. That was one complaint I had for Swamp Thing, where it's the same sort of issue. Moving the head just isn't really an option. And there's like that extra print under this one, which is different. So it's a little easier to break it up and make it look weird and stupid. But I do love the minifigure. I think this one's executed a little bit better though. Well, let's try on the official head quick. And this will have the same sort of neck part that a normal minifigure head has, so it should fit fine. Looks like because the back of the neck there does have a little bit extra sticking out. It's not going to push down all the way, but it does push down enough to fit. This is where you can see the color difference there, where I guess this is just a different color of plastic too, so it's not going to be a perfect match. This is an option, I guess, if you really wanted to do that. I don't know why you would want to, but it does kind of fit. I think this is the worst print that they've done for Groot so far, though, on this head. And I guess we'll try out the official torso too. And this isn't an awful look. I think the plastics match a little bit better on this one, since there is like that little bit of green printed on there to make it seem like a little bit lighter. I just feel like the blend is a little better. That's interesting. I guess I'll pop up the arms off of this and put the torso on it too to see what that looks like. And you know what? I don't hate this. Maybe because it's just like a little more simple and more Lego-like. You know, you miss out on some of that leg printing, so maybe I'll try and switch out the legs too. But I feel like the torso blend here is a little bit better. The greens don't match, which I guess could be fine. You know, trees could have different colors of leaves depending on the age and all that. Maybe not the worst thing ever. And honestly, the torso printings aren't even that different. It's just, I don't know why the tan colors just don't look as good. These, I don't know, it just is like a little bit different looking at them next to each other. So that is just weird. I'm not sure why that is the way that it is. Yeah, I just don't think these are a good color match, where this one is the right color, it feels like. This one's a little bit more tanny. So I guess maybe this is like some sort of weird offshoot plastic. Doesn't seem like it's colored at all or has a coating on it. And maybe I'm just seeing it, but let me know in the comments if you're seeing what I'm seeing. It just seems like this one's a little bit more green. And then you put on this and it just feels right compared to when it's on here. I don't know. Let's check out those leg differences. Again, I don't hate it. There's like a little bit of detailing that's kind of duplicated, where you can see that there's like weird transition there. I feel like it's not as noticeable on the back though. It is kind of just continuing that design. So that's nice. Not awful. Again, it's just different. Obviously I'm going to keep the custom parts together. Just wanted to kind of show this off while we're looking at it and just kind of brainstorming things you could do to mess around with this if you really wanted to. And I noticed there's a little bit of green on the legs even. And as you bend them, there's a little bit of extra detailing. The way I bend it right now, it actually kind of still creates like a seamless shape. So that's kind of nice. But yeah, little bit of green on the front. Nothing on the sides or back though. I guess maybe there's a little bit on the bottom of the feet there. That's one complaint I guess I would have, is just I would want more leaf and vine printing that's green. I feel like that was a little bit more present in the design than it should have been. But one thing I would really want is a Guardians 1 version of Groot by anybody with a more accurate face for him, since that is my kind of preferred look for Groot. Love the first movie. Nobody's made like a good custom by him, I don't think. And something like this with the like longer legs that Phoenix Customs has used for his like She-Hulk would be perfect for Groot, or even just the woody legs actually would be perfect for Guardians 1 Groot at least, to give him that extra height. Lot to like here. Just glad to have a more accurate version of Groot from one of the movies, since I don't know what they were thinking here. That doesn't look great at all. Width-wise, definitely helps. I think it should have had more height, since standing next to the normal minifigure, it's like the same height as a minifigure. He's a little bit bulkier, should be a little bit taller for sure. But glad to have, let's compare it to some of my other Guardians minifigures. This version of Groot continues the tradition of the rest of the custom LEGO Guardians of the Galaxy minifigures in my collection, where it is definitely an improvement from the official version, like I already pointed out. Downside of it, it is missing the extra height I would have liked to have seen, and I guess I'm kind of noticing that about Swamp Thing now too, where it is just barely taller than a normal minifigure, and if it has like a hairpiece or some sort of other head covering, it definitely could end up being shorter than a minifigure, unfortunately. Something with the legs would have helped a lot, whether it was like an in between the torso and leg buffer piece to put in there, or just longer legs like I already pointed out, definitely would have helped. The head looks great, and I feel like that is a very accurate representation of the character from Guardians 3, and would love to see something like that made for the Guardians 1 version of Groot, since, I don't know, the faces with the black eyes printed like a normal minifigure face just don't work. Don't enjoy those. And this version of Groot is also going to fit in with the rest of the Jocko ones that I have, so there's not going to be like brand incompatibility, which is always something I'm looking for in my custom LEGO minifigures. Texture-wise, on the molds, I would say are pretty good, but like I mentioned, it is interesting that the colors just don't match the way I would like them to between the plastics. So that's a downside. I know I usually complain about Jin's faces. Not going to be an issue here, obviously, with it being kind of a weird alien creature. It's a lot easier to get it spot on, and it isn't going to look as uncanny as a normal minifigure face printed on a head. So not going to be a problem there. Price-wise, probably a little bit more expensive than I would have liked, but with all the different molded parts, I guess I can let it pass this time around, but I guess, there are some little areas where it probably could have been improved a little bit. If you want to see more custom LEGO Marvel videos overall, or specifically Guardians of the Galaxy custom LEGO minifigure reviews, check out all the content on my channel. I have been Brick Radiop, and I will see you in the next video.